Stupid Garbage Podcast.
Oh, I like that.
Far away. Let me get this. That's better.
Oh my god.
So, how are you, darling?
I'm alright.
Want to tell the readers what just happened? What we just did?
We just watched one of the movies that was on
one of the movies.
The list of Best Picture movies. We watched Crash.
It won the 2004 Best Picture Academy Award. God. So we finished it, 90 seconds ago.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jess? Raw, unfiltered, right off the top. In a word. Or a number.
It's a little bit too, not controversial, but it brings up topics that I feel like I am not super qualified to discuss, especially in a public setting. I feel like this was a really bad idea.
Ludacris was in it.
Yes. Brendan Fraser was in it.
Yeah.
Who's my homie.
Sandra Bullock, your turn.
Don Cheadle.
Terrence Howard.
I think I'm out, yeah. There were a lot of people that I recognized that I wouldn't have known the names of. I think every single character was pretty famous, except for the Iranian family.
Matt Dillon, I win. Alright, so...
Ryan Philippe.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
You would have had it.
Yeah.
But you lost it. So, the movie felt a lot longer than it was. It was about an hour 50, maybe even a little shorter than that. We found it on Netflix. It felt long. It felt like, I think because the scenes changed a lot and there were a lot of characters to keep tabs on. It was 7 different stories all overlapping.
I thought it felt pretty accurate to an hour and 50 minutes.
Alright. Just me then, dear reader.
Yeah.
Did you like it? That's my question to you. Michael Pena is another one.
Was he the Hispanic?
He was a locksmith.
Yeah. Look, did I like it? Here's the thing. When Rob asked me to look through the list of all of the Best Picture winners, I came to the conclusion that I don't want to see a single one of them that I haven't already seen.
We got through 0 movies before Jessica had an objection.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Because I would see Birdman, but Rob has already seen it. And I was like, there were a couple that I was like, ugh, fuck it. If I have to, I'll see it. But, with the list of, every movie that I'd already seen, and then with the crossing off what Rob had already seen of my movies that I had yet to see, there's maybe, 20 movies that are all movies I have no intention of ever seeing in my life. But then I saw Crash, and I was like, you know what? I have not heard a single thing about Crash. I've never seen the trailer. I don't know how I missed this movie entirely, but I did. So I was like, let's give this a chance. Brendan Fraser had me hooked, so yeah.
That's why she picked this movie.
It is.
It was Moonlight, or maybe...
No, I'm definitely not watching Moonlight. That looks terrible.
Okay.
Literally, the plot summary is about a boy growing up. I'm like, this looks... What? There's no plot to that.
I will remind you, as I already reminded you, as you've already been reminded. Yeah. As you've already been reminded, the list that you came up with yesterday or the day before of the best movies... I asked you to pick the best movie ever, and you came back with a list. On that list was Boyhood, which is precisely that, and you haven't even seen Boyhood.
But Boyhood is it's a 30-year span of filming.
It's 15, and also, who gives a shit?
But that's crazy. That's such an innovative thing. That's cool. That's different. I think it's cool.
You told me, you defended yourself by saying everyone says Boyhood is great.
Yeah, and I have not heard a single thing about Moonlight.
It won an Oscar for Best Picture.
Look, I guess I'm going to have to watch it at some point, but...
Boyhood lost to Birdman.
Whatever. I also don't. Whatever. Anyway, I thought this movie, I am glad that I've seen it because it did, it was weird. Half of it was really feel good and half of it was really, really feel bad.
So you just feel.
So I'm just stuck with a lot of feelings right now, and I already had a lot of feelings before walking into this movie, and I feel genuinely depleted.
Jessica's very touchy-feely. That's why we call her Helen Keller around the house. But
yikes, Rob.
She's gonna get offended.
I'm offended for her. I don't like that. I don't. That's distasteful.
Taste. Helen Keller would be able to tell you about that. So, I wonder if Helen Keller would have been probably not, but a decent superhero in the right capacity, in the right
like a Daredevil
circumstances.
situation?
Yeah, Daredevil, as the lore goes, and I'm sure he's not the only one, lost his sight, and thus his other senses were heightened to the point. What I didn't understand is that it seemed like I'll buy you lose your sight, your other senses over time get more acute. Okay. I'll buy it. What Daredevil seems to do is he like echolocates and he does all this stuff so that he can functionally see and also basically see, and also his other senses are super heightened. So he's basically like Wolverine or some. He's basically, he might as well be able to see, and he can smell a person from a quarter mile away. You know, I mean, so losing your sight might make your hearing better, but it doesn't make it so good that it more than compensates for your lack of sight. Like he might as well have 7 senses. Let me get a... Go ahead. God damn. Yeah, go ahead.
You yell at me for not talking.
Go ahead.
You just go on these rants.
Don't talk when I'm talking.
I know, but you go on these rants and you yell at me for not talking. Dear reader, Robert and I have been fighting, so we're already tense, so get ready for this. Buckle in. Anyway, so, I forgot what I was going to say about Daredevil now.
Thank you for stopping me.
Oh, in the TV series, it literally will show you what he sees. And it shows, like, it almost looks like a night vision goggle, or, like, he can see energy. So, like, everything is black, but the one person he's fighting he is able to see.
Yeah, it's like 3D radar or something.
Yeah, like, it's like a visualization of what echolocating would be, I guess, but, like, to the point where he can see.
Yes, that's what I've never really, and the comics seem to intimate that that's kind of the way, like, he can see very, very precise shapes. Like, he has the Force. Like, he can force sense things around him.
No.
And then also, you can do one or the other. Like, his hearing is good enough that he might as well be able to see, and that's a superpower. Or he's blind, but he has this sense of smell of a basset hound. You pick one or the other. You can't say both, because then what's the fucking point of making him blind?
Yep.
That's not it. Being blind, no offense to the hard of sight community, but being blind is not a superpower.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
I would even go as far as to call it a handicap.
I don't think the blind would disagree with you.
No, I don't think they would either.
Yeah.
So
I had a huge problem with Daredevil, but that's another...
Back to Helen Keller, I would think if we go off the mat...
back to Crash.
Well, we'll circle all the way back.
Okay.
Semicircle back to Helen Keller, do a 180 here. If we go by the Matt Murdock principle, Daredevil principle of...
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's his alter ego or
his
whatever.
Normie name?
Yeah, his secret identity is Matt Murdock. So anyway, doesn't matter. We go by the Daredevil principle where in losing one sight turns you into like a superhero. Helen Keller might be able to smell into the future or something. Like she might as well be like a member of the X-Men. Just right off the bat, right?
Sure.
You figure she's got the 3 senses. She can probably feel...
So treat her with more respect, huh?
I just said she was touchy-feely. Wow. She can probably touch your forehead and read your mind. That's what I would guess Helen Keller. Going on the Matt Murdock. Probably. like a Jedi or Jesus Christ. Yeah. Sure. She might as well be a mid-strength god. She might as well be like a mid-tier, maybe not Olympian, but like one of the more, like Iris or something, one of the more
I support
impressive non-Olympian gods. Helios, I don't know.
I love powerful women. Let's cheer for Helen.
You can't convince me that Helen Keller is dead. She might have an accelerated healing factor that keeps her alive for hundreds of years. Again, akin to Wolverine.
Maybe she's also just gotten so good at, making up for the lack of senses that you can't even tell anymore, and she's just like a normie. What
really happened. I bet you could link a lot of tragedies in American history to Helen Keller. Area 51, Helen Keller was flying, and some fucking weather balloon, because it was lined in foil or something, she couldn't see it, so she crashed into it. That's what they found at Roswell, was a weather balloon tangled up around Helen Keller. And then she got it off of her, just as the cops were pulling up, or whoever the fuck was pulling up, some farmer who found her in bumfuck New Mexico. And just as they were, turning around the bend, she bent down and then leapt 100 miles. Jumped into the sky like the Incredible Hulk. I bet Helen Keller, JFK was in Dallas, and Helen Keller was 1,000 miles away in, like, Florida or something, and she thought, man, fuck JFK. And then his head just exploded.
Look.
I'll bet.
I'm going to stop you here.
Yeah.
because I'm sick of you.
I'll bet.
Let's go back to Crash.
I'll bet 9/11, those planes, Helen Keller threw them. They weren't even on. The engines, that's how they blew up so much. They had every single drop of fuel still in them because they didn't need to burn any of it because Helen Keller threw them like a paper airplane.
She's a woman with a mission. What can I say?
You can say, God help us. Helen Keller is here.
I hope I get to meet her one day.
Oh, you if you get within 10 miles of Helen Keller, I think your skin will melt off, kind of like in the Ark of the Covenant.
Chernobyl?
Or Chernobyl, sure. I would bet that she is radioactive to like 10,000 roentgens. I would put money on it.
So we have a movie to review.
Chernobyl, Helen Keller sneezed.
Chernobyl?
That's what happened.
Okay, we have a movie to review.
Yeah.
Crash. What did you think about it?
I thought it was pretty good. What I'm gonna do right now actually is
directed by HK.
Directed by what?
HK.
Helen Keller? No, if this movie had been directed by Helen Keller, it would have driven us mad to witness it. So let's see. Crash into me.
I can fill time while you look stuff up as pretty.
No, my David Matthews. It's interesting. It has 74% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You know,
I think it'd be better.
Can you tell me what you thought about it before you look up and are swayed by other people's opinions, please?
Not what I'm doing right now. Thank you, though. 2005.
See, look at the sass. So sick of you.
Yeah, well, right back at you, kid.
I'm leaving you tomorrow.
Why wait?
Well, I'm doing a podcast, so I definitely can't leave you right now. Yeah. Also, you know, it's cold and dark, and where am I going to go? And also, if we break up, you're the one that's going to leave,
So, I mean, all of that was just nothing but well-rounded, fully formed points. So, the Academy Award nominees in 2005 for Best Picture were Brokeback Mountain, Munich, Capote, starring...
I don't know anything about Capote.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, in case you still don't know.
Oh, no, I know. He's dead?
Capote. Mr. Capote and Philip Seymour Hoffman are both dead.
Yeah, I thought so.
They got on the wrong side of Helen Keller, and you know that's what happens. And Good Night and Good Luck. Those were the movies that were competing with Crash.
Okay, I know almost nothing about all of them.
Truman Capote used to like to write books. I was friends with Harper Lee. That's my impression of Truman Capote being done by Phil C. Hoff. I think he won for Best Actor that year for playing Capote. But anyway, so those were the movies they were competing against. Capote, I think was... I think it was mostly just about the performance.
I want to hear your opinion about Crash.
My point is, I'm surprised Crash won, but then looking at the competition, maybe I'm not that surprised. Because it was that gay cowboy movie, Brokeback Mountain. I thought it was a Western when I saw it the first 3 or 4 times. And then I just kept going, thinking, like, there's elements that I must be missing, but, you know. I mean, we don't have to go there.
I don't think I saw it, so I would chip in here, but I can't.
It is... I have 6 or 7 copies of the DVD, and I have it on my computer and phone, and...
Honestly, doesn't surprise me.
I have printed a lot of... I guess you'd call them screen grabs.
That's nice.
But, yeah, no.
Again, not surprising, but I'm glad...
I have a lot of art based on the movie. Again,
yeah, I'm glad
literotica, I suppose, would be the word for it. Or no, not literotica, because it's not written. I mean, I do have that too, but it would be just erotica. No, but Brokeback Mountain, I haven't seen it either, but it's Gyllenhaal...
That was misleading.
And Heath Ledger at his gayest, and Gyllenhaal at his middle-of-the-road gayness.
Yeah, I agree.
But... yeah, so I guess I'm not surprised that Crash won because the competition doesn't seem all that robust.
Again, though, not in relation to things, but just did you like the movie?
In relation to nothing, Crash exists.
Okay, so we have similar feelings about it. Stop.
Yeah,
creeping.
it was.
Please. My drawing doesn't make any noise.
Makes noise in my head.
Okay.
Screaming.
So
loud,
anyway,
like wind through a tunnel, but
a
big tunnel, like a dam or something. So Crash, it was like 7 different stories all overlapping and intermingling, and there was a slight element of non-linearity in the timelines. but not really very much.
Robert seems to think that there was a lot more linearity than I thought there was.
Yeah, you seem to think it was like Memento, where everything was just jumping around.
Yeah.
But there was, at the beginning, things were non-linear, and then everything else after like the first scene was in a straight line.
And I
pretty
don't think that's true.
Pretty obviously and definitely.
That's rude, and let me have an opinion.
Okay, but there were like 3 times in the movie where you said something, you're like, I don't understand what's happening. I
There
don't
was
get this.
the one
like,
thing
you
that
clearly
I didn't
weren't
understand
following
was
this
what
movie.
the fuck was going on with Don Cheadle when they were like from the context and from everyone's facial expression and shit, I was gathering that they asked him to do something that he didn't feel comfortable with doing, and he did it.
Or you didn't get that, but you didn't understand the thing with the mother either. You didn't understand what's going on in
I thought the mom had
Farsi.
Alzheimer's. Well, I thought the mom had Alzheimer's, but that wasn't. It wasn't clear that she was a drug addict. Like, you said that she's a drug addict, but there was not a single sign that she was a drug addict.
Again, I don't. This is not a judgment on you. I don't think you followed this movie very well. In large part, it might have been because you spent like 10 minutes on your phone.
I literally pulled out my phone for that one scene with Don Cheadle. That's it.
Okay, but if you miss... First of all, I think it was longer than you appreciate. But second of all,
No.
if you miss, say, a 5-minute scene in the middle of a movie, you might not... Particularly with a movie like this. This is not Mission Impossible 2, wherein it's... Or Fast and the Furious. It's not just, okay...
That was the one scene that I was on my phone for. I was not on my phone for any of the mother scenes.
But okay, so then I don't know what it was then. You just didn't follow this movie very well.
I don't think it was very clear. I don't think it was a me thing. I think that they didn't... There was not a single scene where they showed her, like, with drugs in her house, or her using drugs, or they did not mention drugs. She didn't look drugged out. Like, I don't understand how you got that. I don't even know if you're right. Like, I don't understand where you came to that conclusion.
Alright, well, so...
And she asked the same question over and over, like someone with Alzheimer's. In a way where, like, she would ask it, and then she'd keep going with the conversation, and then all of a sudden it would switch back, and she'd ask the same question again, like someone with Alzheimer's. I didn't get drugs from that at all.
So I didn't find the movie to be particularly, I don't know, revolutionary or mind-blowing, or it wasn't a bad movie. I expected it to be better, given what the bar was that we were trying to clear. With all of these movies have been declared the best movie of the year.
Yep.
I figured this would be a better movie. The acting was good. It was an interesting plot, but in my opinion, again, it was very slow because it's not... there are like 2 or 3 moments of climax in the whole movie that it was kind of building towards like an hour and a half, and it just... I don't know.
Also, like, again, I felt like it was very tit for tat in a way, where it would be like every 2 or 3 scenes would be sad, 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 and then all of a sudden there'd be one scene to break up the sadness that was like, oh, that was sweet though. Maybe there's hope, and then it would go back to sad, sad, sad. So I feel like...
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. Like, it was good in that the movie wasn't such a huge downer, but it was bad, and, like, it did break up, so for me it didn't feel that slow, because every single time I was like, oh wow, this movie sucks, it kind of gave me a little hint of, like, this was nice, or whatever, so it didn't drag for me that much. Because I kept on being confused. I was like, sad, sad, happy, but... And, like, I was rooting for a couple characters, but I found this movie, like, speaking of the acting and the characters and stuff, like, I found almost every single character to be very unlikable. Almost the entire time. Like, and then the likable characters got less likable, and then the unlikable characters got more likable, but sometimes not really. So, it was weird. And, like, Ryan Philippe's character, and, like, are we gonna do spoilers or no?
I mean, I guess you can. I don't know.
So, like...
yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want.
Okay, well, I'll try to not spoil it so much, but, like, a bunch of characters, I think, got, like, bad, then good, then bad again, or, like, the other way around, and it just was, like, I don't know, it just... There was no sense of, like, fulfillment at all. Like, what you said, you were, like, you made fun of the movie, and you were like, oh, these are complex characters. Like, you can be good and bad. Like, it kind of did feel like that, where it was like, okay, we get it. Like, you have, you know, you did a couple good things, you did a couple bad things, and you're just neutral now. Like, it just...
Well, with most of the characters besides the drugged-out, demented mother, whatever her problem was...
Thank you for acknowledging.
Yeah, who fucking knows. So, whatever... Besides her, all the characters we're pretty much on a journey of, they start racist or prejudiced, and then they become less so.
Yeah, it was mostly a really race-driven movie, but
it will always.
We'll get to that.
Why don't we get to it now?
Okay. Well, I want you to let you.
Fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So like the opening scene, Rob asked me to take notes, and the opening scene, I just wrote racism. Jesus.
Oh yeah. What were your notes?
I stopped taking notes because I was like, I'm gonna record immediately after this movie. I'm gonna remember everything, and I do remember everything.
How long into the movie did you stop taking notes?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, you wrote down like 6 things.
Also, like, I felt like you were watching me, and then I felt insecure about the quality of my notes. So
I was not watching you. You showed me your notes.
I felt watched.
I was looking at the screen.
So my first note.
You're behind me.
My first note was the fact that Don Cheadle and his romantic interest in this movie also play husband and wife in my show House of Lies. And I was like, oh, that's funny. So that was the first thing I wrote down. And then I wrote down racism, confusion.
If I may.
Yeah.
The show House of Lies, you couldn't think of the name?
No, I couldn't. That was another thing I looked up.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it. I can never remember it. Even when I was watching the show, I could never remember. Like, I'd have to go through Netflix, and it was like, continue watching, and I was like, oh, thank you. Because I couldn't remember what the fucking show was called. I don't know why.
Oh, I've worked on shows that I don't remember the names of.
Exactly.
Next point.
Confusion. And then you told me, because we were noticing the gaps of time were weird, so I wrote time, ?
Another question.
Yeah.
Why are you reading this out of order?
I'm not.
You went my show, confusion, time. You skipped one.
No, I said racism before.
Okay.
And then you interrupted me when I said confusion. So then I reread confusion just in case people weren't paying attention.
Okay, because they got
people missed it.
Time. No. Racism. I'm confusion.
Although, as you know, I write, I usually write things out of order. Like, when someone says, oh, can you write down 10 things? I'll usually go, 1, 5, 3,
Okay, maybe
7.
try going left to right instead of, your own Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
And then I wrote, this is ludicrous, because Ludacris is an actor in the show.
Yep.
So the real notes, I wrote cool transitions, because every time, a car would pass by or something, there'd be, a different scene, and the first time that happened, I missed it. Like, when the camera panned, and then all of a sudden we were in a different scene, I did not know that was happening.
Again,
literally the first scene in the movie, I was like, "What?"
I don't think you followed this movie particularly.
I thought it literally was jumping 3 minutes, not
to a different person.
Span. No, it was still Don Cheadle. He got into a car crash.
Oh, you mean the very beginning?
Yeah, so the very beginning, it opens with Don Cheadle in the car after getting hit by a car or something, and
rear-ended.
His love interest is like, oh, yeah, we've spun around a couple times. I think you're disoriented, and then the camera pans a little bit towards what you could see out of the windshield, and then all of a sudden you see Don Cheadle standing and he's talking to a friend.
And I said, this is a different time, and you went, huh?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I thought that, no, because Don Cheadle gets up, he gets out of the car, and he walks over to his friend, so I thought it was the same scene, and then all of a sudden you were like, it's a different scene, and I was like,
huh?
Yeah. Because again, he gets out of the car and he walks over to his friend, and it was just very good cinematography. I didn't catch it.
I think you spent all of batting practice hitting heat, and then someone threw your curveball.
No, that was the one time that I didn't.
It threw you off for the rest of batting practice.
Anyway,
you couldn't even hit heat anymore.
So then I said,
you were looking for everything to be a curveball.
So there was a scene with molestation done by a police officer to a person of color. And look, they were trying to go into the whole police brutality thing and how police are super racist, which does seem to be true in a lot of cases, which is horrible. But I don't think that cops, this was a police officer who had a, what?
Get to the end of your sentence and I'll say it.
This was a police officer who had a partner who was watching him. And this was a woman who had her husband who was watching her. This wouldn't have happened that way. I could see a police officer just, straight up molesting a woman, horrible, terrible, but at least, I could see that happening. But with this, it was, a 4-person thing, and, only one person decided to molest it. I don't know. It just was very unbelievable to me, and the fact that, a cop would do that seems very unbelievable. Yes.
That's the worst train stop on the entire line.
I don't know what that means.
Molest station.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I probably should have just said it when you said the word molestation.
Yes.
But I raised my hand.
Okay, but I was going to finish my thought.
That'd be polite. You did finish your thought.
Yeah. No, it was... I would have hated it way more if you had interrupted me and said that. So.
Molest station, dear reader.
The worst stop on the railroad.
On the entire line. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you find it was unrealistic or what?
Yeah, it was just like this wouldn't happen. Like all of the other scenes where the police get really hot and heavy really quickly and like pull their guns out and start getting really aggressive. I was like, okay, I could see this happening, and I've seen videos on social media of people recording cops who do stuff like that. But the molesting thing, I'm like, this would never happen. And if it does happen, I would like to be notified more, to be honest. Like, it's hard because I feel like I live in a society, like, they were talking, like, this movie was set in LA, and they were saying, like, there's a black area of LA, and there's a white area of LA, and, like, there was, like, a huge differentiation, and I don't really think that we have that in the suburbs of New York so much.
I mean, not in the suburbs, I guess, but in New York City, there's definitely...
But I don't live in New York City, and no. I don't, like... I think the people that, like, I don't go to the neighborhoods in the city either. Like, if I go to the city...
Certainly not those ones.
Like, I don't usually visit friends in the city. We usually meet out somewhere, and, yeah, I mean, like, I walk through Manhattan, but it's never, like... I think the neighborhoods are purposefully not in the center of Manhattan, so I don't usually...
Well, Manhattan's expensive, and you know.
Exactly.
I mean, put two and two together, dear reader.
Oh, my God.
No, but when I moved...
Yeah, maybe that's it, too.
When I moved to the South Bronx, my mother said, I don't know where she got these statistics, because she's not a police officer or anything of the sort. So she just told me, she said, hey, the neighborhood you're moving into, I looked it up, and I went, okay. And she said, it's 98% not white. Okay, Mom, what am I supposed to do with that information? I guess I'm bringing it down to 97. Like, what do you want me to do?
I mean, it's hard, because, like, as they addressed in the movie, like, they were saying, like,
doesn't matter.
There are so many blacks, or, like, just people of color stereotypes, and... They were saying that in the movie. They were like, oh my God, these people are stereotyping us. But then they go do the thing that they were complaining about.
Yeah. It's like, man, you make, Ludacris said, you make black people look bad, and then they went carjacked people at gunpoint.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be out here and, not tipping people or whatever.
Yeah. And then, yeah, he was like, you can't not tip people because everyone thinks that black people don't tip people. And then the guy was like, well, did you tip? And he was like, for that service? No way.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, and I wrote that down too. Like, everyone was perpetuating stereotypes. Like, they were saying, it's so terrible, but then... And, like, the same thing, like, with the, again, this is a spoiler, so, fast forward a couple seconds or whatever, but, like, there was an Iranian man who was saying, like, oh my God, they think we're Arabs, they think we're terrorists, and then he tried to kill someone.
Yeah, I mean...
So, it's like...
Yeah, it wasn't great.
You are... he was very, like, by far the most aggressive person that would, like, kill someone point blank. And what?
That was a good pun. I don't think you realized it, but it was a good pun.
Why?
For reasons that I mean, if we're gonna spoil the
later,
movie,
like...
I'll just say it now. I'm not gonna tease it. Major spoiler alert: the Iranian guy tries to at the very beginning of the movie, his daughter buys a gun so they can defend their store, and then she just says, give me whatever fucking bullets you have, because she's short with the guy at the pawn shop or gun shop, whatever it is, because he's being rude. So he just gives her a box that she asks for without knowing what it is, and
do you think she didn't know what it was?
Yeah, she said, just give me the red box. He said, do you know what they are? And she said, just give me the fucking box.
Oh, I thought she, like, knew on, like,
no, I don't think so. So anyway, yeah, cute. Like an hour and a half later, towards the end of the movie, when the Iranian guy, her father, uses said gun and said bullets to try and shoot someone, nothing happens because they are blanks.
Yeah.
Hence, point blank.
That's cute.
Would have been quite clever had you either A, recognized it as you were doing it, or B, recognized it after I pointed it out without having to explain it. What? It's as though you didn't see the movie.
It's a subconscious thing that my brain was like, put these two together, Jess. This should be the expression.
Right, but then that was like super conscious.
It needs to be surfaced. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, yes. He was like, so I felt like, and it's hard because, like, obviously, like, a lot of white people do rob and steal too.
Oh, I don't think there's any evidence to support that.
But, like, I do feel like people of color are just more, I mean, they're definitely arrested more, which I think creates a stereotype that they do it more. And then there's this, like, again, going into the whole racism thing is just not something that I want to do, but this movie was entirely about racism.
Yeah, this movie was... Dear reader, if you don't like movies about race-related issues or movies that tackle racism in America or, casual racism or institutional, any of it, if you don't like that, this movie probably won't be for you.
Yeah, and there was all the levels, like every single, like from the top down, just
the levels,
racism.
The white, the black, the Middle Eastern, Asian American, Hispanic.
Okay.
Jess, hello.
Are we just listing
whatever
races?
Whatever Sandra Bullock is, they had one of those. What is Sandra Bullock?
White.
You think? Just white?
I could see there being a little bit of like something Hispanic in there.
Let's look it up, dear Rita.
It's like how you said Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it was Jewish, and I was like, absolutely not, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, you called me, I think you called me a race traitor for suggesting that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, a Jewish man, might be Jewish. Joseph Gordon-Levitt might be Jewish.
Yeah, I was like, absolutely not, you're so wrong.
The name Joseph Gordon-Levitt
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think it's because he played an Italian dude in a movie once, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that movie with
Scarlett Johansson. Terrible.
Don Juan or something?
So bad.
Don something.
So uncomfortable to watch with your mother.
My mother?
I watched it with my mom.
Okay, I was gonna say my mother would have lived. Well, I don't know if she would have loved that movie.
It's my dream.
She probably would have tolerated it.
Weird and atypical with your mother.
You can watch The Proposal. She watches it probably twice a week.
That's not weird and atypical.
Oh, it's you haven't seen The Proposal. Let me throw this at you. Watch it 40 times.
That's the stretch up down my balls one, right?
Yeah, that's weird and atypical.
It is, but it's not the same as the fucking Don Juan or whatever, Don John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so there was a lot of racism. At least it was equally racist.
So speaking of Sandra Bullock and racism, her maternal grandfather was a German rocket scientist from Nuremberg.
Ooh.
Nazi baby. Helga Matilda Meyer, which...
So are we all just white?
Can't be, yeah.
Okay.
An opera singer and voice teacher from Germany. I mean, maybe she was Hispanic, because, there's a lot of people going from Germany to South America and vice versa. Not so much vice versa after the 40s, but... and John Bullock, an Army employee and part-time voice coach from Alabama.
John Bullock. Okay, anyway. What was I saying? You cut me off.
I apologize.
Oh, everyone was equally racist. Like, there was racist comments made about every single race, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just... Everyone was so racist in a way that, again, I feel like is so unrealistic. Like, I wouldn't just see a guy on the street and be like, ew, gross, a Chinaman. Which is, again, a quote from the movie. But I wouldn't do that. Like, I would never be like, oh, God, this Mexican dude is trying to cheat me of my money. Like, let me yell at him about it. Like, it just... Everyone was so overly racist that I was like, again, it's not believable.
Yeah, it was... I mean... I think some of them, I agree, were kind of caricaturized for the point of being like, this is what you get if you're racist, or, oh, look how racist this guy is, but he can change.
Yeah.
It's like, but it was not very subtle. I'll even say it was extremely overt. It was
very overt.
Yeah. Which I think might have been a product of the fact that they crammed like 7 or 8 stories into this hour and 50 minutes. Yeah. You can't really build... Like much character development if you only have each character on screen for 15 minutes.
I feel like, okay, for example, Ryan Philippe, I felt like was very...
Explain to the readers who Ryan Philippe is.
Reese Witherspoon's first husband.
Explain to the readers who Reese Witherspoon is.
Legally Blonde.
She was Elle Woods. Yep. Name one other Reese Witherspoon role. Yeah.
Home something Alabama?
Sweet Home Alabama?
Yeah.
I think that was Cameron Diaz.
Nope.
I might be thinking of Something About Mary.
Yep. She had a ferret in that movie.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah, let's talk about ferrets.
No, for the love of Christ.
Anyway,
please.
So Ryan Philippe's character, I think, developed in a little tiny bit more of a subtle way.
Subtle? Yeah, from the beginning he did develop a little. From the beginning to the end of the movie, he did go from like an A to a full B cup.
I hate you.
And you did notice a bit more pubes under his arms.
Anyway,
the tip of his...
Also, the movie director, TV director, whatever...
Terrence Howard.
He also, I feel like, changed. But again, that... never mind. It was also very overt, where he went from, like, one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
It wasn't very subtle. It wasn't very smart.
Fun? No, it wasn't.
Like, it
fun.
looked like he went crazy.
Oh yeah, he went. To use a phrase this movie probably would have dropped in. He went buck wild. But fun fact about Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle in the Iron Man and Avengers movies, I guess. Terrence Howard was the original War Machine.
Oh.
Rhodes or
Wait,
whatever
what do
his
you
name
mean
is.
the original?
I mean, in the first 2 Iron Man movies, that character was played by Terrence Howard.
Really?
And then he was replaced, without any explanation at all, by Don Cheadle, a man who really doesn't look that much like him.
I didn't notice, but I also
Doesn't look like him at all.
Well, I have no memory of Terrence Howard being in that movie.
Yeah, he was in, I think in the first 2 Iron Man movies, it was the first 2 Iron Man movies, he was War Machine. He was the guy who would become War Machine.
And he showed his face?
Oh, yeah, I mean, of course.
Oh,
He was
my God.
friends with...
If you're in War Machine, you're not.
They could have put Robert Downey Jr. Back in the blackface that he did for Tropic Thunder,
Ew.
and it would have looked more like Terrence Howard than Don Cheadle does.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. They look absolutely nothing alike in any way.
Again, they could have kept Robert Downey Jr. in his normal white face. He would have looked more like Terrence Howard than Don Cheadle does. He could have just played both parts.
I mean, they have Terrence Howard has no, I don't think he has a goatee. Does he?
So does Robert Downey Jr.
That's what I'm saying.
And so does not Don Cheadle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At least the two of them have goatees.
So anyway, they were both in this movie.
My God. And then Terrence Howard's wife played... Her character was the most annoying woman or character in general that I've ever experienced in my life. Like,
No, come on. That can't be true.
She was terrible through and through.
She wasn't great.
She didn't get better. She didn't, oh my God. All of the decisions she made me so annoyed. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments that you have?
I guess not. A lot of the little ending, each story was wrapped up. I thought a lot of them pretty poorly, frankly. I didn't really like, and I think that's probably the point. Like, this movie has no beginning or end. It's just like life, know, man. It's like, all right, fucking give me a break. That's not why I'm watching a movie.
As you know, it's like one of my least favorite things in a movie to just watch people struggling the whole time.
I do know that.
And I felt like that, one of my least favorite movie genres is like drug addicts, because it's just like their life is so hard.
Drug addict is a weird movie genre.
Yeah.
What about Racehorse?
What?
I don't know. Is that a Seabiscuit?
I haven't seen... My old boss...
You haven't seen Biscuit?
My old boss told me to watch Seabiscuit. He was like, I think you'd really like it.
Seabiscuit Run. Yeah.
I'll check that
it's, fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. If you're not big on horse races from the 1930s or 40s, whatever it is, then you're probably not going to like, I think it was like 37.
I have to look back as to what he said. He said I specifically would like it because of something, and I want to look back at my notes. No, it wasn't the horse.
Tobey Maguire.
It was like he was trying to teach me a lesson through the movie, but I have to look back at what it was. Clearly, I'm not getting any life lessons ever, but I should watch that movie anyway. But yes, so I was gonna say something before you. Oh no, I said it already. It's just a hard genre. I'm trying to think of another one, like a marriage story where it seems like it's basically about their relationship falling apart the whole movie. Yeah.
Another genre you do not like is coming of age movies.
Oh my God. Have we talked about that on the podcast? I feel like we have.
Rehash it. Go ahead.
Don't want to watch teenagers have really awkward interactions and try to fuck the whole movie. It makes me so uncomfortable. Like, you are 17. I don't want to watch you fuck. It's illegal. Like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to...
There is in, like the John Hughes movies, there's a lot of full penetration, to be fair. Although I would... Yeah.
John Hughes is like 16 Candles, right?
Oh, John Hughes, you know my bit about John Hughes that I'm going to go into right now.
Please do, because I don't know if I know it.
No.
But I'm sure I do.
I say that John Hughes, who, dear reader, if you don't know, he was a screenwriter.
Was he 16 Candles?
Yes. Among other things, he wrote 16 Candles. And I say the run that John Hughes had, and keep in mind, he didn't just write these. He also directed like half these movies. I say the run he had from like 83 until 1990 was probably the best writing and maybe even writing directorial run of anyone in like the history of modern cinema, like Western cinema. So from 1983, to 1990. This is not his entire career by any means, but this is just like the densest bit of it. He wrote, among other things, I'm going to even skip some. He wrote Mr. Mom, Savage Islands, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Some Kind of Wonderful, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, Home Alone, and 3 National Lampoon movies. In 7 years. Yeah, I think
that's insane.
I think in like 14 months or something like that, 14 or 16 months. Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, National Lampoon's European Vacation, and The Breakfast Club all came out in like insane. Less than a year and a half.
That's insane. Another thing,
he directed half these movies and he wrote all of them. So, and it's not even like he's anyone printing out like 15 movies in 7 years. I was like, holy shit, this dude's not on cocaine. Cocaine's on him.
Yeah.
Cocaine gets to be on John Hughes. Not only are they movies that get made, they're amazing. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone.
See, that should be, like, I wish there was a category for that, of just, like, amazing classic movies that everyone should see. Like, The Breakfast Club is one of those movies that you need to see as a human being. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, too.
Sure.
That would be the kind of movie that I would die to watch for this podcast.
I would argue that those are the two of them are both kind of coming-of-age movies in their own way.
Fuck you, idiot.
Okay.
Well, look, okay.
The Breakfast Club, I think, more than Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
The Breakfast Club was a classic that I feel like everyone has to see, but also I did hate the fact that they were teenagers. I was just like, okay, we get it. You're a jock and you're a nerd and whatever, and we all get along. So I didn't like that as much, but I loved the style that the rebel dude had. I started wearing an ear cuff after I saw that movie for a really long time, and then I just got them pierced.
Yeah.
So I have them permanently.
This is not theater of the mind, dear reader. Jessica has 7 and 6 piercings on her left and right ear, respectively. She has 13 piercings on her ears.
Yes.
Yeah.
For now.
Or it might be more. We'll see.
Yes.
Jessica has 15 piercings. You do the math. 13 of them in her ears.
Yeah.
And a tattoo of a sword going down her back, as we've already talked about.
Do you want to talk about your rule that you've implemented?
Nope.
Of tattoos?
No.
So in June 13th of this upcoming year, I will be allowed to get literally as many tattoos as I want for the rest of my life.
I think it's Friday the 13th, although I think in that month, I think Friday the 13th is on a Tuesday, so.
That's impossible. I get
adorable.
it. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I started last night in my fugue of just not being able to sleep while you weren't in the bed. I was planning my next tattoo, and I was like, fuck, I literally have had a year to plan this tattoo, and I cannot think of what I want. So, dear reader, any suggestions I will gladly take into consideration and put on my body permanently.
You are going to get a porn bot comment that you're going to have to then tattoo on your body forever.
Guess what? That's probably already on my list of tattoos I want. Whatever they could suggest.
Give us a short list. Gold medal.
Of the tattoos I want?
Silver medal, bronze medal, yeah.
I would say my silver medal would be a scorpion.
Why are you starting there? What are
you doing?
Because
it's the easiest. It came to my mind. I was like, I have wanted a scorpion.
Okay.
I would say, so gold is the problem, obviously. Gold is the hardest for me because it's my next tattoo will be this. Or before I die, if I can only get one more tattoo, it would be this. I can't think of that one because it's too much pressure. But... Well,
if scorpion's the one that comes so readily to you, maybe that should be your gold.
No, because if you said, Jess, this is your last tattoo, it wouldn't be a scorpion.
Okay, but it would be instead... Go, don't think.
I mean, an Egyptian sleeve is really something I want.
Boom.
Too, Nefertiti.
I can get you the sleeve of an Egyptian person's arm, their skin.
That's horrifying, but I don't doubt.
Okay, pick a lane.
So I want to get... So here's the thing, too. I don't know if I want a leg sleeve because they're kind of lame. But I've seen some really nice leg sleeves, and I've also seen, a ginormous snake wrapping around someone's leg, and I really love that.
So is that bronze?
But I think that's, the problem with that is that would be one snake. That would be the entire tattoo of my entire shin and lower leg. I just don't know if that's...
Yeah, not
that's
by the hairs of your shinny shin. I getcha.
It's just taking up a lot of real estate. That could be, 5 or 6 or 20...
It's free real estate.
That's cute.
Oh, I had
It could be many other tattoos, is my point.
Dang. I had I'm supposed to do an impression and whatever. I realized that, because I listened back to it, that I said I'd do...
You did one.
What do you think I did today?
You did someone being someone else already today. You did Philip Hoffman.
Oh, doing Capote? No, that was just because Capote came up. That was horrible and not very good. And
I'm counting it. No, you can do your own.
Well, no, I was just, because I listened back to it and I realized I said characters or impressions, and I haven't done any characters yet, so...
Give me one.
I'll do a character.
I don't know if I've ever heard you... I probably have.
Oh, you've heard me do many characters.
Yeah, I was saying, oh, it's cute, you're gonna create a character, and then I was like, oh shit, every character I've ever heard him create.
J.R.T.R. Shaw, Detective J.R.T.R. Shaw. You name a crime, I can solve it. Name a crime, go, now. Now, name a crime.
Theft.
Someone stole something, boom, solved, next.
Okay, fire started.
Someone started a fire, where's the fire? Right there, next.
There's a dead body next to me.
Oh, I don't know about that. Don't know nothing about that. I'm just a simple farm boy detective moving out to the big city trying to solve crimes. I don't know, big dead names. People. Sometimes people die, all right? That's spooky, all right? You know what happens when people die?
What?
Ghosts.
What's
I don't mess with ghosts. You call the Ghostbusters for that. That's paranormal shit. I'm a simple cop. I was raised on the farm in Oklahoma and now I'm moving to the big city.
What's JRTR stand for?
It's my name. Stands for the best detective in all of Oklahoma City. The city that I moved to in Oklahoma. Hey, maybe don't make fun of my name and I won't make fun of yours. What's your name?
Jess.
Boo. Boo, Jess. Terrible name. See? Hurts, don't it? That's my character. Thank you.
Oh! My God, can you not?
Great
you knocked over the phone.
Yeah, what do you think I did?
I thought you just knocked over, I thought you hit a shoe or something.
No, ow, it hurt.
Because there's a shoe right there, you see. You just knocked over my phone.
If you just got motion sickness, dear reader, felt like you were plunging down a roller coaster, I knocked the phone that we're recording with off the table that it was on, and it hit me on the foot.
Idiot.
And Jessica... Okay, don't call me an idiot, you didn't notice. If I had been... I just put it back up because I assumed you'd notice. If I had been a little more seamless about it, you probably never would have realized.
No, I wouldn't have.
So...
Well, I'm looking at my own legs. Well, so I drew my name on my leg because I was bored while Rob was talking. And
naturally.
If you...
Me too, frankly.
If you squish it, it gets really little and cute, and then once you let it go, it looks all stretched out. So I was doing that.
Just like you.
I was doing that when you dropped the phone, so I was very distracted.
I didn't drop the phone. No one saw. You don't know. So let's sum it up. Crash, would you recommend it or not? This is good.
I don't know. It just was not great. I think it was people loved it because people go apeshit for commentaries on racism.
Hashtag.
Oh my God, this movie really tackled issues that everyone else was afraid to tackle. And
hashtag, oh my God, this movie really tackled issues that everyone else was afraid to tackle, and that's just amazing. Yeah. It's a long hashtag. That's the tweet.
So, to me, it was just I understand that this won Best Picture because people were like, ooh, doesn't it have to? Ooh.
Although it was stacked up against...
Gay
and Truman Capote, also gay.
So, I don't know. But this was...
Maybe the gays took each other out of the running, like when John Elway won the MVP.
But this was racism and 9/11, so...
Yeah.
It's a big... Plus Brendan Fraser.
Double rainbow all the way across the sky. Double racism all the way across the sky. Double planes crashing into towers all the way across the sky. Whoa. Helen Keller back at it again. So would you recommend it, yes or no?
Oh my God. No.
Okay.
To me, when racism is brought up, I'm just ew, gross, can we not? I don't want to do this right now. It makes me uncomfortable. But then I'm we do need to address this because, they do have a point where, at one point, Sandra Bullock was saying, I saw a black dude and I was afraid of him, and then, my instinct was to turn and run, but I didn't, and he robbed me, so I should have, and I was yikes,
yeah. So, here's what I would say.
I don't know.
I would say this movie was probably, A, quite culturally relevant, and B, maybe had relevant commentary, especially, the 9/11 stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get my thought out, and it just made me seem like I was telling my story for no reason.
Go ahead, get your thought
out. What I was gonna say was, racism does exist, and I guess, not, for a reason, because I don't, I don't understand it fully, why people are still racist. I don't understand why it's necessary in society, but also, Sandra Bullock kept on being like, she was like, I was afraid of this black person, and then they did rob her. So it's kind of like the like, yeah, I guess I'm stumbling over what I am trying to say, but it's like the fact that she automatically assumed that they were going to rob her was a huge issue, and I feel like that's a lot of like how racism is dangerous.
Yeah, but then she went back and she helped him join the football team, and he got a scholarship to Ole Miss.
Oh my god, that was good.
So,
but yeah, my point is that I'm like, racism shouldn't be a thing. I don't get it, but then like people are racist and it hurts other people, and that's why we should see movies about it.
Okay, so I would say that this movie probably was culturally relevant, and again, had something to say that might have been worth hearing in like 2004 or 5 when it came out.
Sure.
Now, none of it. I mean, does racism still exist? Sure, but like this is not a must-see sort of movie. It's not a commentary, and a lot of the stuff, like the cultural turmoil of the early 2000s, no longer really applies in the same way. There are better movies. Again, the acting was fine, but none of it was like mind blowing. There's nothing about this movie. It's fine, but there's nothing.
The script itself kind of hurt the.
I don't know. There's nothing about this movie that I think is must see.
Yeah.
At least in 2020. Maybe if this was in 2006, I'd recommend it, but I'd say no. Go watch Capote. It's a better movie.
I also feel like there have been a lot of movies about racism that I thought were just genuinely better.
There are better movies in this, or at the very least,
because I think like
more relevant movies in this. Go watch Capote. It's a better movie. That's it. That's our recommendation.
So.
See you later, pod racers.
Bye.